Hey everybody and welcome back. My name is Sue and I am from OML Embroidery. And today we're going to continue on with Anita Goodesign Mylar Florals with a twist. We're going to do something a little different and it involves this thread. So keep watching. Okay, so you have seen our beautiful Mylar designs. A lot of people in the OML Embroidery University Facebook group have been working on them, and they're stunning, shiny, beautiful colors, and they're turning out really well. There was a lot of questions on YouTube. What if you don't have Mylar or can't get Mylar or don't want to get Mylar? Can you use regular fabric or organza? And the answer is yes, of course you can. So we're going to experiment with that today. Now I have just some scraps of this beautiful turquoise organza. That's where this thread comes in because I want to keep it metallic. And I have a little bit of gold as well. So this is a little bit different, but you can see that it's shiny. Of course, not as spectacular as the Mylar, but I think it's going to look really good. So I'm going to do gold and turquoise, and I decided I'm going to try different fabrics to see how it looks. Now this one is purple and it's got some blues in it, and I think it's going to look really good. And then we'll try something a little brighter and see how that works out. And I think I'll try putting the gold over it. I was holding it over and went, oh yeah, that's kind of lovely. Let's go to McDreamy right here. I love McDreamy. My brother Dream Machine 2. Okay, here we are at McDreamy. Now I have my fabric loaded and I have my batting, which is warm and natural, and I am going to be using the metallic thread. Now this is King Star metallic thread, and this stunning color is MA6, the turquoise. It is so beautiful. I can't wait to use it. So I think I'm going to do the brown kind of colors here in gold and the, I guess it's gray, in the turquoise, and we're going to see how this turns out. So we're going to be doing Mylar designs without the Mylar. We're using fabric, and of course we're using the organza. So before we get started, I wanted to show you guys how quick and easy it is to add a stipple background if you have a McDreamy, a Brother Dream Machine 2, or I think the Stellaire is the same, and probably the other ones. But if you have this option, I'm going to show you guys how to do it because it's really cool. So go to edit, and then we want to go to this picture right here, which is a picture of a flower with scribbles around it, and we're going to click on that, and look what it does. It is literally this easy. So I am doing it in an 8x8 hoop. That's too big. 8x8 hoop. So I picked a smaller size design. I probably could have gone up one more, but I just wanted to make sure that all the stippling would show up. Now the distance is the outline without being an outline, but how far in those stippling stitches are going to go. And what I want to do is get rid of in between here so that my whole, there we go, just like that, my whole pattern is open. One more should do it. There we go. So that's what you're going for. Now you can also change the stippling spacing. So if you want it you know, larger in between or smaller, the default is 2. So I'm just going to leave it there. Let's select preview, and look, we have it right there. So let's go OK, and let's head on over to the embroidery part of it. So I guess it's going to do the stippling at the end, which is fine, which is fine. So our first step is going to be the outline, and it's the outline of the outside heart along with the inside. So let's play around with that a little bit, and let's stitch this part. And I'm going to use the bright turquoise thread because I'm dying to see how it looks on this busy fabric. So the next step I can see right here is the tack down. So I'm going to put down my fabric and my organza to hopefully give it this beautiful glow. And we're going to make sure, hopefully, yes, we're going to make sure it covers the whole thing. And if you want to use a little bit of tape or a little bit of spray my organzas all over the place, I'm just going to be super careful with it and get the outside tack down. So let's stitch. Make sure, of course, you always keep your hands away from the machine. I know I do it, but you guys shouldn't. Yeah, that worked out pretty well. It would have been better to use a little bit of tape, but that's fine. Isn't that pretty? I think that looks really nice, actually. I like it. So I'm just going to go ahead and stitch for the inside because I want to see how it looks. I think that would be cool. It's probably meant to be gold in the middle, but I'm just going to leave it just to see how it looks. There we go. So our next step is going to be the Mylar stitches if you're using Mylar. Now, if you're using the fabric and the organza, you can skip this part, but I'm going to stitch it on this one. And I think on the smaller pieces, I'm just going to leave it so we can see how it looks. So it's just the Mylar stitching. We could actually trim this out right now, but I'm just going to leave it. So far the turquoise looks stunning. I really like it. The metallic thread and the organza. I think that works just as well. I'm actually quite happy with it. It's beautiful. I can see that the next steps are going to be the tack down for the gold. So we're going to go back to the desk and we're going to do some trimming. So let's go back now. Okay, it might be a little bit hard to see, but I think this looks great. It's easier to see on McDreamy, I think. You can see it now. There you go. I think this looks great. So what we're going to do is trim it out. And I had an idea about the center that I think is going to look fantastic. I'm going to layer the organza. See how much darker it looks? And I think that's going to look fantastic. So let's trim it out. And it's not as easy, well, this part is. It's not as easy as the Mylar, because the Mylar, if you're careful, you can just tear it around. But the organza does trim quite nicely, so I like it so far. Just being careful. I think the dots underneath look really good. I really like it. It's a different effect, but it's a nice effect. So I'm hopefully gonna have a good trimming day today. And all those beautiful butterflies are just going to be shining through. And the background, I just love this fabric. It's so pretty. So again, just being careful trimming. And I like the way this has come out. So another thing you could do if you have different colors of the organza, if it suited you, you could, say for example, put the gold over it. And you see the difference in color? Let's say you did 2 golds over. I might do that as well. Beautiful. Now, the question is, am I going to do this lighter fabric with the gold, or am I going to stick to this fabric? Because I should have enough. I'm just using up scraps. Is there going to be enough difference? I think I'll try the other one. That doesn't look like there's going to be enough difference. I mean, you can see that it is different, but I don't know. We'll try. So let's go back to McDreamy. I've changed my thread. It's the gold, the same gold we used in the other one. And I am going to stitch down these placement stitches, and then I'll figure out my options for the center heart. Now, if you have used Mylar, you can very easily cut out the Mylar from the center heart at this point, or rip it, tear it, that sort of thing. So I'm just going to leave it though, because I'm not really sure what I'm doing. But I think I might put a couple layers of gold organza over it. And that way too, we have a really good, you know, sampling of what you can do with this fabric. Now I just need little pieces, use scrappies. Okay, so the next step is the tack down, and I think I'm gonna leave that one there. Now this one, they're just small, so I just kind of cut up my fabric scrap there, and I think this one will be fine, and this one. So my pieces are big enough, and it's a delicate enough design on the fabric. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this up. Then what I'm going to do is just put my organza down, and let's try doubling it, because why not? It just intensifies the look. I think that might be okay. Hopefully it's enough. So make sure you put your hoop back. And again, you could use a little bit of tape to hold it down. Remembering, of course, that the Mylar stitches are gonna hold everything down. I'm just concerned I don't want anything to get caught or stuck or moved out of place. So let's stitch these down, and I'm just gonna keep a good eye on the organza that's hanging around. I think that'll look pretty in the center, but we'll have to see. So I'm stitching down fabric plus organza, and so far I like it. I think the metallic thread, I'm always so thankful that Kingstar metallic thread exists, because it makes using metallic thread so easy, and I love it. That's beautiful. It got the turquoise flowers in this one. So hopefully that will, you know, add a little to it, I think. These are just little pieces, but that's okay. I should have fussy cut it a little bit to get more of the turquoise flowers in the design. Well, that's okay. We could use some colors. So far, I'm liking this. I think it's pretty darn cool. Okay, so The organza didn't go anywhere at all. I'm going to go ahead and stitch out the mylar stitches before I do any trimming, just to keep in pace with if you're using actual mylar. So let's go ahead and do that in gold, our special mylar stitches. So far, I really like it. It's not quite the same as Mylar, but I think it's pretty good. You could use this technique for any applique, but I think it works especially well with the metallic thread and the organza. So let's carefully trim it out, and then we will be putting the final satin stitches on it, and I think it's going to look great. Okay, so time for the big reveal. I am again going to cut the organza first, and then I'm going to cut the fabric just to get a neater finish. We are going to be doing satin stitches around it, so it's not going to matter too much, but I just like to keep it straight and kind of neat. It's pretty forgiving. And remember, if you're using mylar, try to tear it at an angle, and you should get a good clean edge on it. Just take your time, of course, though. Maybe I could do one applique at a time. That might be a little easier for me instead of struggling. So let's do that. So I cut the organza, and now I'm cutting the fabric. So this would be a great scrap buster, and this would also, I'm pretty sure, make your quilt blocks washable. I'm pretty sure you can wash the organza, but if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments, just for curiosity's sake. Now for this one right here, the top one, I'm gonna cut both and see if that's any more difficult. Just to try it out. I've never done this technique, so we want to try. We love Embroidery Experiments, so this is a good one. And thank you, Anita Goodesign, for such amazing designs. I really liked the big boldness of this design, and I thought everyone would have fun stitching it out. It's great practice with the mylar, and it's great with this. So good Embroidery Experiments. I try to come up with as many as I can. So I can see this is just as easy cutting out both at the same time. However, for me, because I used a full piece, it's a little more awkward for me. Everything's getting in the way. But if you had smaller pieces and you had them taped down with painter's tape, I think it would be just fine doing it this way. But yeah, I do find it a little awkward. But I did also use a very, very big piece. So, oh, see? And I didn't finish one at a time, one at a time. I started cutting it again, but I'd already done it. So let's do it the way that I'm more comfortable. And even though the same fabric is underneath the middle heart, it still looks really good, and it looks gold enough, and you can see the little dots a bit. So if you had one piece of fabric and different colored organzas, I think this would look awesome. It's great. Play with what you have. If you can't get the mylar, or Mylar balloons, or you don't want to do the other experiments that we had, I think this is a good solution, and it's a good technique. I think it's awesome. So 2 layers is pretty good. I think I might have liked 1 more, but now we're going to do the finishing stitches. Well, I'm so happy how this turned out iridescent with the organza as opposed to very bright and blingy with the Mylar. I decided to do the background stippling in gold so it wouldn't take away from the fabric. I think if I put the turquoise on it would show too much, so the gold just gives it a shimmery kind of Dance of the Dragonfly look. So yes, you can use organza instead of Mylar. Now, again, it's not as bright as the Mylar, but I think it's looks really good and it's better than just fabric. So if you don't have Mylar, or if you just want to simply try organza over your fabric, go for it, 1 or 2 layers. You could also mix your colors of organza and layer it up, and you could make your own custom colors on it, and you wouldn't have to do any fabric if you had maybe 4 layers of organza. So try a pink, a purple, a blue, and then gold on top, and see how that looks. So thanks everyone for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys will continue stitching out Mylar florals and experiment with what you've got. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!